Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Over the past few months I've been making updated review videos since the style I do videos has improved a lot since I first made some of these videos years ago. So far I've only done updated reviews for roller coasters, but that changes today as I begin my amusement park reviews, and we'll start with Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Before we get into today's video, I'd just like to say a massive thank you for all of the support from everyone on the channel recently. It's been growing like never before and I've got loads planned over the next few weeks, so please be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more simply explained, easy to understand theme park content, and leave a like if you enjoyed today's video, but no pressure. The links to my shop, blog and social pages are also in the description. Thanks for your support. Getting to Blackpool Pleasure Beach is very easy. It's located in the middle of a big town, so it's very well connected, and for most of you like me who will be driving there, you can get to it very easily from the M6 and M55. Parking can be a bit of a problem in the area around the park, but if you do get there early then you shouldn't have much of a problem. There is a car park that's just over the road from the entrance that's not actually owned by the Pleasure Beach, called Osborne Road Car Park, and that's usually less than half the price of the others. I wouldn't recommend using the Pleasure Beach car parks. £18 to park your car is the biggest rip-off of all time, so definitely go over the road to that car park I just talked about because you can get it a lot cheaper there. I'll talk about and sum up whether or not I think the park is good value for money later in the video, but I will say for now that buying your tickets online makes it a lot cheaper. You can get your wristband or just an entry ticket, it seems to be now, from inside the big white building, and then you can enter through the Noah's Ark. The amusement park has 10 roller coasters. Well, 11 as you class the Ghost Train as one, but I mean, come on, it's not a roller coaster. 4 of the roller coasters are wooden from the 1920s and 30s, so if you're a fan of classic rides, you'll love them. I'm in the process of making individual reviews from each of these rides, but I will give a brief review of them all now. The Big Dipper is the 8th oldest roller coaster in the world, and besides having that title, to be honest, it's nothing very special. Sure, compared to other coasters its age, it's a bit more thrilling and there are a few moments of airtime on there, but nowadays it is very jolty and the layout isn't anything to write home about. I'm sure if some track work was done on there though, then it could be returned to its former glory. The Grand National has a fantastic layout, with perfectly profiled airtime hills and great interaction between the two trains, but unfortunately the ride is incredibly rough and the trains in it are absolutely terrible. It really takes the fun out of a ride that could be awesome this, and it would be great to see the ride get retracked and get some new, more upgraded trains on it. Is it 1 coaster credit or 2 coaster credits though? I'll let you guys decide that one. Nickelodeon Streak has a big history. It first opened as the Velvet Coaster, which is actually now the name of a restaurant opposite the park, which I would highly recommend. And the Velvet Coaster was extended and it was remodelled into the roller coaster, which it must have taken them months to come up with that one, and then later into Nickelodeon Streak, where it got that orange colour scheme that everyone moans about now that I actually think looks quite good. The ride is very smooth and enjoyable, no airtime, but that's okay, it's still a nice, comfortable ride and it's a family coaster at the end of the day. The Blue Flyer, or Zipper Dipper, is the blue wooden coaster next to it. It's absolutely tiny, so my only criticism of it is that it only goes round once, and it definitely should have at least 2 or probably 3 laps. Taller people like me will find it tough to fit in on this ride, but if you're desperate for that extra coaster credit, you'll need a row all to yourself and then you can stretch out and sit diagonally with your legs sideways. So we've talked about the classic wooden coasters, but what about the smooth steel coasters that everyone loves these days? Well, there are 6 of them in Blackpool, but 5 of them aren't exactly what I class as smooth. Avalanche is a Mack bobsleigh coaster. Some people, including my brother, absolutely rave about this ride and think it's something really amazing, but to be honest, I've never been that much of a fan. That probably has something to do with me not enjoying waiting forever to get on it, due to the trains that sometimes only seat 8 people, to then get on the ride and have finished it in about 30 seconds. It also takes up lots of space, and I can think of lots of other coasters that would look a lot nicer on that land. But on a serious note though, it's a decent ride that's perfect for those who are past the smaller coasters in Nickelodeon land, but aren't quite ready to take on some of the more thrilling rides yet. So it does play an important role in the ride lineup at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. The Revolution is just an amazing roller coaster. It's fairly smooth, unless again you're really tall like me, and you'll then bang your legs a bit on the carriage, and it is one of the most intense rides I've ever been on. You will almost certainly grey out on the vertical loop, and the crazy backwards ejector air time is like nothing else. I would highly recommend this ride, and to be honest with you, I'd probably go all the way to Blackpool Pleasure Beach just to have a go on this. Steeplechase is another one of those rides that's good just because it's unique. Riding on a horse, racing against your friends is great fun, and it definitely gives you bragging rights that you've been on the only ride of its kind that's still been around for a long time now, but the ride is starting to dwindle in popularity with both the general public and coaster fans, and it takes up quite a lot of room in a very small and landlocked park, so it probably won't be around for much longer. A complaint I have about this is how you don't always get to ride against your friends because of how you branch off into your own lane way before it comes to getting on the ride, so you never actually know if the groups in front of you will be riding together or alone, so it often ends up that you have to start letting people go in front of you as you're about to get on the ride so you line up with your group again. A quick plug while I'm here for my What Could Replace Steeplechase video that you can watch via the link in the description. For the UK, the Big One is a great ride. It's big, obviously the biggest in the country, is fast, gives great views and is very well known. It ranks very highly compared to other coasters in this country and I enjoy it, but if you start comparing it to some of the roller coasters abroad, and even some that are slightly smaller than it like Goliath at Wallaby Holland, it doesn't stack up. If you're one of the people who doesn't like rough rides, then this one certainly isn't for you. My dad went on it once, and now whenever I'm there with him, he stands in the cafe drinking coffee and eating sugar donuts while I have a ride. Infusion looks good and is actually very popular for some reason unknown to me because it absolutely sucks. It's so rough and uncomfortable, and I certainly wouldn't make this ride a priority when you're there if I were you. The last roller coaster to talk about is Icon. I've definitely saved the best till last here, and this ride is a glass smooth coaster with some of the best airtime I've ever experienced. Even better, you'll never have to wait very long for this ride either, but I talk about all of this in so much more detail in my review video for it. The link to that is in the description. All in all, a good coaster collection. If you're a coaster enthusiast that's just after blockbuster roller coasters, then this probably isn't the park for you. But if you want a very unique lineup that has something for everyone, then you should be good to go here. Blackpool Pleasure Beach has a great selection of indoor dark rides, which is great for when the terrible UK weather is upon us. The Ghost Train is an absolute classic that has actually gotten a lot of love off the park in recent years, and it's really fun. The River Caves is very unique and tells a great story of touring around many different places and times, but this ride is in the need of a lot of work. I mean, I didn't live in the prehistoric period, but I'm pretty sure that dinosaurs didn't have duct tape keeping their faces together, so that probably should be sorted out. With a bit of money spending on it, this ride could truly be restored back to the world-class dark ride that it once was. Alice in Wonderland is in very good condition and is probably the best dark ride at the park for the younger ones. The problem with this ride though is that it goes way too fast. It's rushing past many of the scenes in the ride that are really good, and it would be a lot nicer if it went slower so you could have the time to enjoy the scenes in the ride more properly. Valhalla opened in 2000 and is a boat ride that leaves you absolutely soaked. It takes you through a great storyline and has special effects that you probably otherwise only see at a big budget theme park. One minute there's flames erupting all around you, and the next you're in an ice room. And after you've just been drenched in near freezing cold water already, it is very cold. My waterproof poncho didn't do the job on this ride, and you just have to accept that if you're going on it, you're going to get very wet. It's certainly worth bringing a change of clothes with you if you're giving Valhalla a go. In case you didn't already know, Valhalla is closed for the 2021 season, where it will undergo a refurbishment. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the ride, and hopefully the awesome special effects stay and are repaired. The Wallace and Gromit ride is great for those who watch it, but if like me you never have, then it's just a good ride to go on when it's raining that's quite well put together. Flat rides are basically the other rides that we haven't talked about yet. They're the spinning rides, the drop towers, everything like that. Ice Blast is your average S&S shot tower, where it literally does that, shoots you up to the top of the tower. It's a bit of a gamble though as to whether you'll be looking over the ocean and the beach, or the houses behind the park. Flying machines are the first ride you'll see when you enter the park, and it dates back to 1904. The Derby Racer isn't just your normal carousel, it's so much faster and more fun, and it's definitely not something you should miss out on. We don't have time to go through every single ride at the park, but what you need to know is that they've got a good selection of flat rides, a classic Grand Prix car ride, a train that goes the wrong way, go in it and look behind you, you'll see what I mean, and a family area, Nickelodeon land. Food at the park is probably slightly nicer than your average theme park food, but you are going to pay a premium for that. Prices aside, the nicest place to eat in the park is at the pizza and pasta buffet in the building where the Space Invader used to be. There's a Burger King in the park too, so it's usually one of those two places that I've just listed where I'll usually eat. They won't let you bring your own food into the park, but you are allowed to bring water in, which is good if you don't want to pay the £1.95 that they charge. If you get there early and park in the Osborne Road car park where I talked about earlier though, then it's only a few minutes walk back to your car, so you can eat there or you can head over to the Velvet Coaster restaurant, which is really good. The atmosphere and look of the park has definitely improved a lot over the last few years. It doesn't feel tacky at all anymore, and Amanda Thompson has done a really good job with that. I would say that the park looks a lot better now, and it hasn't always been that way, so in that sense it's come on in leaps and bounds. I do wish that they'd embrace being such an old amusement park with such a big history a bit more though, and do up some of the heritage buildings in the park, like the Grand National Station, and they could make the Noah's Ark into a BPB museum and build an entirely fresh, new entrance there, maybe a bit like what Cedar Fair has done with their amusement parks. Track is sold at the park in the form of Speedy Passes, where you can reserve your place in line on either a device you hire out or an app on your phone. Compared to most other theme parks, it's actually not that expensive too, but be sure to watch my video where I talk all about Theme Park Fast Track from just a few weeks ago if you'd like to hear a really in-depth review of it all. You guessed it, the link is in the description. If you book online 10 or more days in advance, then Blackpool Pleasure Beach is great value for money, especially with the saver weekends in February and March, and also in the summer where you can enjoy many of the rides on some nights until late, and for 8 nights a year until 10 PM. There's also a fireworks show at the end of the night on those days as well, so what's not to like? It's also worth saying that if you live in the local area, you can get an extra discount as well. Pleasure Beach sells lots of great merch items, including old ride parts and t-shirts, mugs, badges and more. They are a bit pricey as you'd expect, but the quality of it all is very good. Those were just some of my thoughts on Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Overall, a very good amusement park, certainly by UK standards anyway, but I want to hear your thoughts, so please be sure to comment them down below. Thanks again for watching today's video, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more, and leave a like if you did enjoy today's video. I'll see you in tomorrow's video, which will be my weekly theme park news summary.